moving in there, like everybody was just, man, if this guy here can get up there and say something, and I can too, because I might be going through that same thing. And a lot of men, we don't really speak on mental health. We don't really be vulnerable around other men, and so much growth can come from that, personal growth. You know what I mean? And like Stephen said, everybody there was on the same page as far as trying to better themselves and better their community. So that was real good.
Yes, sir. And so I think that there's another event that's going to be coming up as well with the Family Service Center Fatherhood program. When is that?
It's Thursday at 7 o'clock at Rue Daddy's again, Mainland City Mall, over there in Restaurant Row. So at 7 o'clock, same time, come out, get a free meal. Again,
emphasize that a little bit more.
Yeah. So that was the thing too. And shout out to TJ Beard, man, Rue Daddy's, and Jordan Collins, and man, that crawfish and those smothered pork chops, and that food was amazing that night, dude. I mean, like after kind of scene went when everybody got in there, it was our first event.
Yeah,
it wasn't like maybe it should be, and that's something I'm taking note to do this. We didn't have an agenda, right? Like we just went in there, we just was real and honest, and just went and we went for what we know, you know what I mean? But we all went in there, we ate, we ordered food, had great service from their waiter staff and everybody, and we just went there. I think the second pick, by this time the second pick had came up. The Houston Texans had made their second pick. And everybody was on 10, regardless if you was a Cowboys fan or not. Everybody knew that the Texans had done a good job so far. And everybody was excited, and it was just a vibe from there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we all just hung out. It became like we was in somebody's backyard around a barbecue pit or something, but the food was amazing, y'all, and it was free, you know what I mean? Nobody left out of there with no tab, as far as no groceries, so, and the food was, man, I'm looking forward to them smothered pork chops. I seen like 2 or 3 people order them, and they was looking so good. So I think that's what I'm gonna rock with this.
You mentioned Jordan Collins. I saw he posted that they're gonna do a soul food like festival vendor thing. He posted it on social media yesterday over there at Rue Daddy's, and invite these other food trucks and restaurants and caterers out there.
I know Simply Smoke is going to be involved from Hitchcock. It's a great barbecue place. Jonay's Soul Food Catering, and her food is amazing too, man. Like I hurt myself messing around with Jonay. Seriously, really good food.
Yeah. And it's easier. I think it's easier to share experiences over food. There's a lot of people that I've talked to in a lot of events I've been to, whether that's with, church or family, but those are like memorable things, and it kind of makes you put your guard down a little bit, and you're able to talk about things because you're like, hey, I'm okay. I'm eating food with friends and stuff, and you can share a little bit more from your heart.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
So if somebody hasn't heard of the Fatherhood program, I guess what is that? Who is that for?
The Fatherhood program's really for like any father or even father figure of like a child that's under the age of like 17 and under. So and essentially it's like, well, our Fatherhood program has 2 like components to it. One, it's kind of like the group aspect where it's a lot of like what we discussed already, where it's like we bring food to any in-person events, and then we or meetings, and then we also we have discussions, and it could include things about like what does it mean to be a man in society today, and it's kind of like discussions that would include kind of like what's your role in your family, being able to manage co-parenting. How are you handling that? How are you talking to your children about handling and managing emotions, especially anger? That's like the common theme that comes up with their children in anger. And we talk about grief and loss in some sessions as well too. And then we hit on other aspects about work-life balance as well too, and how that impacts the home. So that's primarily like our group aspect, and then we have the other side of things, which is like the therapy side of things, because anybody who enrolls in the program, they're automatically covered themselves, their their children, their spouse, the mother of their children. They're covered for therapy services at Family Service Center. And I'm a social work intern right now, So I'm starting to see some people through therapy, but then also we also have a licensed marriage family therapist who's specifically assigned to fatherhood, where he's able to work with any of the dads, whatever they're going through. So they're able to set their own goals and be able to work through that. So it's really unique to be able to have free therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What led you to go pursue this path that you're on?
Generally, I was a marketing major out with my undergrad, and COVID happened, and I just saw a lot of people that were, suffering and kind of like going through hard times and needing outlets to be able to be connected to resources. So that kind of like just led me down a rabbit hole of research and what I could do to be able to help people. And mental health came up, which was a big topic on everybody's mind in 2020 and 2021. So that led me into social work, and then social work led me to this organization. And it's been an amazing experience so far, definitely.
Doc, last time that Jared was on, we were talking about the Lamar Chargers, and I'm friends with you on social media, and we see each other on the community at times. But I know you do some teaching as well, and I saw a post that you made, imparting it to the kids. It was like towards the last day of school.
It was the last day.
Yeah, you're like a father figure to a lot of people. What's the importance of programs like these, and I guess being a mentor?
So, like, a lot of the kids, they don't have that father figure in their house. I never had that father figure in my house, you know what I'm saying? And so, growing up, you kind of follow whichever way you see everybody else going, but the way things are looking around here, like at some point the men have to start standing up, because they're looking, the little kids, they're looking at the role models that are not going to help them be fruitful in life later on. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I love this program. That's why I told Jared, man, I want to help in any way I can, because a lot of men hold in a lot of stuff that nobody knows about, and it's slowly killing them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just like a wolf. A wolf cannot be by itself. That's why they run in packs. And just like us men, we shouldn't be by ourselves, man, because if we're by ourselves, it's a lot of stuff that we can't really communicate, and we just hold it in, and we self-destruct each other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We self-destruct ourselves. And so that's why I feel like it's very important that as men who are doing positive things in the community, to reach back to other men, reach back to young boys, and just try to show them that, hey, yes, life is hard for everybody. But if we come together and start working together, then there's ways that we can try to start navigating this stuff together, and you don't have to do it alone.
Right. And go ahead.
I think the best thing about the group that we had the last event was that nobody thought that they were perfect. Nobody was on I've done this before. I'm the best at it. I know how things should go. Everybody had listening ears and an open heart to receive from other people. I just had to. I just thought about that because, like that was really it, man. Because we want all these things. We trying to lead the youth. We trying to better our community, but nobody has this all figured out. So we leaning on each other to figure it out. You know what I mean? Because it's not about us. It's about our kids and our community. At the end of the day, we're getting older. Steven's kind of young, but I know me and Doc, me and Doc is getting on the other side. Like I'll be 37 at the end of this month. Doc, you 40, right?
I'm 43.
43. See, I didn't even know that.
Look, I look that good. I know, man.
But you know what I mean? Like we're getting on that side of age to where I think it's a Bible scripture that you said. What is it like about what you're supposed to leave here?
So the Bible commands every man to leave an inheritance for his children.
Right. So you may not, even if that's not, the way I look at that, how I receive that, even if that's not even financial, you know what I mean? That's mental too. That's mental as well. So we really have that responsibility, and like to give that to our kids and our family. Like I said, in our community, we are here for somebody else. Nobody's here for themselves, regardless. So you sow back into your community, develop your community, build up your community. I think you're doing your part.
The way that I look at it, if you just really, really think about it, right? I've been living in Tech City all my life, really. I saw people come before me. I saw people go before me. And at some point, you have to look at the overall basis of, if you go and look at all the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, all up the way into school, and you kind of start seeing the pattern of what's going on, and it's like, at some point, if nobody steps in and start trying to do, because listen, most people, they see these kids doing whatever that they're doing, and the first thing they say is, well, that's not my kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they don't want to have nothing to do with them.
Right.
But what I say to all those people is, you're right, that may not be your kid, and he may not be directly influencing your household. But if he don't get the help that he needs, right, he may indirectly affect your household. That might be the same kid with no mentorship catch your wife arguing with you on the phone on her way out of Walmart, and he grab her purse. Or that may be the same kid that introduced your kids to drugs at school.
Yeah, because you don't get to choose your kids' friends.
You feel what I'm saying?
For sure.
And so at some point, we have to get out of that. And yes, we have to go after the kids, right? But if nobody's helping the men who are the kids are actually looking up to, I can talk to him all day long. But if he don't really know me, it's going in one end out the other.
Right.
But if he know you as his uncle that he look up to, and I'm able to affect you and have you changing the way you're moving because you know that he's looking and not listening no more, because kids are no longer listening. It's no more you do what I say, not as I do. That's out the window. They are looking, and they're looking at what you're doing. And if what you're doing is not lining up with what you're saying, guess what they're going to do?
They're going to call you out on
They're
that.
going to do what they see you do. And so at some point, that was like me, man. You know, I got 2 kids. I was sitting in the hog barn cleaning up hog mess as a job in prison. And I thought, man, I got 2 sons. And I don't want them to grow up like I grew up. So at some point, I have to be the generational curse breaker in my own family. I got to start doing something different because they're looking at me. And that's what it is. We have to start reaching to these men to try to give them a different outlook on life so they can start moving different. And if they start moving different, the kids that are looking up to them, that, you know, they'll start moving different. So I think that's where it started.
That was probably one of the biggest things that I really took away from that last fatherhood roundtable we had, was that the village it takes to be able to raise children. And it's kind of like, and me and Jared went to like a fatherhood summit like last week, and that topic came up again, where it's kind of like, we really need to, for even the father figures, where it's kind of like, you could be the uncle, you could be the older cousin, you could be like whatever role it is in the, or in relationship to that child. You could just be a friend of the family. You don't even have to be blood related to the child. But it's like being able to have that connection, have that positive impact into the child's life, because if you aren't going to have that positive impact, somebody's going to be there, and somebody could have that negative impact. Exactly what you said. They could be the ones that introduced them into drugs. They could be the one that introduced them to gangs, whatever the influence is. So just being able to be there, and again, it's having those discussions, especially with young boys, young men, where it's kind of like, okay, what do you think it means to be a man? So it's like, so we don't really have an age limit. So like we could see like teenagers in our program and stuff like that too. But it's kind of like, whenever we do have teenagers, their interpretation of what it means to be a man compared to, you get like a 45-year-old man who has a family, has children. It's definitely 2 different perceptions with that, you know? So it's like, that's why it's good to sometimes have some of the older people be in the group with the younger people, so they could, as a group, like as a facilitator, I'm not necessarily like teaching anybody. I let the people from the group teach each other and build that support with each other. So to be able to have somebody like Doc be around another person who might be a 17-year-old father and be able to actually talk to him about what it means to be a man. It's not coming, if it comes from me, it sounds like I'm a teacher, and I'm just kind of like connecting the resources for people to be together. So I think that's important.
And that's one of the things that we're getting ready to start doing at FSC as well, which is great, man. If you know anybody that can take advantage of it, that's in their system. But we're getting ready to start working at Atwater with some of the young fathers that's actually in Atwater. So I'm excited about that with far as the FSC goes. Like, FSC is really trying to move in the right direction. We have some new leaders. We have Jared. His name is Jared Williams also. But he's our new CEO. Dr. Jared Williams. That's why I call him Dr. Jared or Big Jared. A lot of people call me Big Jared, but I respect that man a lot.
That's Big Jared.
Yeah, and I call him Big Jared because, like, man, he's a really cool dude, really humble guy, and he's from Port Arthur, but he's in this position with FSC, and he's really trying to make a difference in the right direction. We have Keith Henry also, who's a big role in our community. A lot of people don't know the small things that he does in our community for our smaller organizations, like especially for our kids. He's always in support. He's always trying to do the right thing when it comes down to the community. So, and like I said, I'm excited for that. We have just a new group of people at FSC, and a lot of opportunity, and FSC is really trying to make a difference now. You know, FSC has been around for 100 years actually, but really hadn't had much presence in the entire county, and that's what we're trying to move to. You know, do more in all aspects. You know, we're trying to grow all of our different programs. Whatever we can do for us going forward in our future. I talk to Jared all the time, and that's his main goal. He wants to grow it. He wants to help more. He wants to be able to offer more services. Like I said, right now we're focusing on more so mental health, but the more people that we get involved and start taking advantage of our services, of course, and coming to our events and trying to be involved in the community, the more that we'll be able to reach out and do as far as growing different programs and growing the services aspect of it. And like man, this guy right here, a lot of people don't know, me and Doc pretty much grew up together. Doc, I just found out, is 6 years older than me. But our families have been like super close our entire life, you know. And I can say everything that this man do here is genuine. He's not a employee of FSC at the time, you know what I mean? But like he's down to help, and he's down to support. He's down to do whatever, and it comes from a real genuine place. You know, when you got people like that around you, you have no choice but to be successful. You know.
Let me speak on something real quick.
One thing I want to really, really speak on that I really need people to get and understand, especially people who come from where I come from. You know what I'm saying? We don't like to talk about a lot of stuff, but a lot of us grew up through a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Being yelled at for nothing, cursed at, whooped, because whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? And mental health is real. And people don't understand how real mental health is, and they figure, oh, man, I'm not going to talk to no psychiatrist. I don't need like, you do need help. Like, I'm going to be one of the first ones to sign up. If it's free, sign me up.
I actually brought his packet. It's in the car.
Yeah. Nah, I'm dead serious, though, because guess what? If I can do anything that I can already help better myself with the path that I'm already going, if I can do stuff to sharpen, you know what I'm saying, more tools, why not get them? Because you just never know what might be discovered deep down unless you go looking for it. And a lot of time we like to keep that door closed and we don't go looking for it, and a lot of stuff stay buried, and then it start coming up in unopportune times, and you like, I didn't even know that was there, but it's always been there. We just never went looking for it, and mental health is real, man, and people need to really realize that we went through a lot of trauma growing up, man. A lot of stuff that we've went through, a lot of stuff that other kids are going through is not normal, man.
Yeah.
But because you see you going through it, your family going through it, the family next door going through it, and the family down the street going through it, you think it's normal. It's not normal, man. It's not normal.
You got to get it off your chest somehow or another, you know.
Yeah. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I think we were talking about trauma and just the way that you don't even realize because you think it's normal. Like any situation, it is. I remember, you know, just there's just things, and sometimes you realize it takes someone to be like, hey, that's not normal, or even it was an experience and it affects you. And so how can you move forward? Like, what's the best thing to do? And I like that. Like, there's a lot of organizations that offer amazing resources, but if you don't know about it or you don't take advantage of it, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So why not take advantage of it?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing that we're doing also too. We trying to team up with other organizations that have different resources so we can bring to people, other different events, whether it's not Kayla Barrett, she's having a fatherhood event where she's honoring fathers. I know the name of her organization is We Rock. And on Father's Day, I think it's June 24th. It's not on Father's Day, I think it's the week after, but she's hosting an event to where she's literally honoring fathers that she know growing up, fathers that she knows in the community that's just trying to reach out and give them their flowers now while they're still alive, And that's just one thing we don't do. And for that to be a young lady, and she's not necessarily doing it for her father, she's doing it for the community and just to show support of other fathers that's out here and just acknowledge men, period, because we have a lot of men these days that we didn't have back then, just to be honest. Like, I was blessed enough to have two great fathers, you know what I mean? Like Doc said, he didn't grow up with his father in his life, but nowadays we have more Doc Ameys, we have more Stevens, we have more Jareds, we have a lot more other men that's actually involved in the community, and that's what we want to bring together. Those men that's in the community that want to be involved, that's trying to do something, to come together, man. We ain't got to see everything eye to eye. We don't have to be best friends. We don't have to be none of that. But let's come together. Let's develop a plan and better our community. Because, like I say, it's not about us. It's about our kids and our community. About what's gonna be here after we gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Doc, I know you were. And we talked about this earlier about you being that teacher in there, and it was the last day of school. I think there's that window, right, where kids will still listen, or they, man, this guy, he's cool. Or then there's the next where they get older and they get with friends or some other stuff, or there's other influences. But there's that window where you can reach those kids that are in the Lamarck Chargers or reach the kids in the community. They'll listen and they respect you. And then sometimes it's just funny. It's like, oh, teenagers know everything. Yeah. But as they get into that and they do. And I remember feeling that way, like, man, my parents don't get it, or they don't get it, whatever. They do get it, and they just want the best for you, right?
Yeah. No doubt. It's something that I realized a long time ago as just being a father is I can tell my guardian, if me and you were close and you knew my son or whatever, I can tell my son 100 times the same thing, and then you can go in there and tell him something and he'll receive it.
Yeah,
right.
That's just like prime example, Jesus. He couldn't do no miracles in his own hometown because of unbelief. Oh, that's Mary and Joseph, the carpenter's son. Nobody believes. So sometimes our kids look at us, oh, that's dad. He don't really. But then when somebody else come up and say the same exact thing, what has happened is dad planted the seed, right? Then somebody else comes along and says the same thing, and the kid like, oh, my daddy said that. And then if they got any kind of respect for the guy that said it, it clicks. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah.
And so a lot of times what I like to tell people, especially when dealing with kids, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So you got to get that part out the way first. That's why I love what I do at the school, man, because I'm not a disciplinarian, man. I go and I love on them and I tell them to believe in themselves. And that opens up their mind to want to receive from me whatever I have to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So,
yes. Stephen, where do you see the program going forward?
I definitely see it as I told Jarrett this. It feels like we're almost like in a startup, but that movement we have building constantly on top of one month after another, and just being able to continue to grow the program. And really, it's spreading awareness right now, just letting people know that, hey, this is available, it's out here, and it's but I see it growing to where it's a community impact, where it's kind of even beyond what the program is right now, we're going to see the impact in the children in the next generation. And going into the JJC, when they get out of there, they're going to be better fathers, and the children are going to definitely have that better upbringing than what they probably had to experience, and just a more engaged, more involved father in their life. So I think it's going to be hopefully a generational impact that we see out of this.
That reminds me of what Kayla Baird, the young lady that's hosting the event, told me. And I did not know this, but I've been holding on tight to it since she told me. It really resonates with me. So Abba, the Hebrew word for father, the meaning of it is strong, means strong house. You know, so if you have a strong father, like he can make that house strong, right? And that's mentally, physically, and spiritually, all the way across the board with our kids. And like you said, our kids, our biological kids, but also the kids that you impact. You know, you got a strong man around them. And again, I can't stress this enough because I want to make this clear. Nobody is perfect. You know, everybody's trying to figure it out. Everybody's just trying to do the right thing. They're trying to do the right thing. The majority of us who's trying to do the right thing now been through a whole lot in our past, right? So we done made a lot of mistakes. We have a lot of skeletons in the closet, whatever the case may be, but we're trying to come forward and make a change and change our lives to help change, you know what I mean, to help out the kids. Because, like I said, again, who said that? Michael Jackson, the kids are our future, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Hey, one thing I can say, man, and this is like to any of the men who listening, like, a lone wolf don't make it in the wilderness long by themselves.
Yeah,
and if
for
you
sure.
want to go far, you can't go by yourself. You know what I'm saying? So me, and I was telling Jared about it, I'm going to have to get him onto it with me, but I'm a part of a group called KHEA, Kings of Accountability. I've been a part of the group for about a year and 2 or 3 months, right? And it's a group of men from all across the country. And we meet on the Zoom every Sunday morning from 9:30 to 11. We talk about our wins, our losses, big goals that we got coming up quarterly, yearly, and we talk about, you know, stuff that we going through in our life. We have mantras that we build and we speak them over each other, but it's a room of men totally being vulnerable, but bringing all their resources to the middle and saying, this is what I do, and if anybody else in this group does what I do and you need help, let's work together free of charge, because nobody is in competition with nobody except their own self and who they were yesterday. And when you can get men operating and moving in unity like that, that's a dangerous sight, but it's a beautiful sight for the people around them that get the benefit from that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, like, and I'm going to just be real, man, because I'm a realist, and it is what it is. So many people around here are stuck with this crab in the bucket syndrome and this poverty mentality. And if my idea ain't the top idea, then I don't want to have nothing to do with it, and y'all can go and work on it by y'allself. Like, come on, man. None of us perfect. Like Jared say, we all trying to figure it out. But guess what? If you use my utensils with your utensils, they may be, because we got 2 different personality types, right? So you see the world different than I see the world. That means we got 2 different angles on one object. So just think, if you got 100 men looking at the same thing, we got 100 different angles, so we can look at it from all sides and make a calculated decision on how we should move forward.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see it like that, and that's why they're stuck where they're at, man.
Yeah.
And until people truly start coming together, realizing that, listen, we all in here trying to make it together, man. Food going up, everything going up but minimum wage.
Right.
That's true, yeah.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
at some point, we got to start working together to make this thing work, man.
And the crazy thing about that, like Stephen had, and it's not crazy, the ironic thing about that is, if we really can come together and get this done, like you said, we was at the summit, the Fatherhood Summit last week. And man, when I say the state of Texas understands the situations of fathers in Galveston County, they know. You know what I mean? So if we can do our part, they down to do their part. You know, like even there, and we was there with the head of child support, the head of WIC. Who else, Stephen?
We had like CPS fathers,
specialists right,
there.
CPS father specialists there. And these people are willing to come down here and hold conferences and hold events to get to assure them different situations, to get their awareness up of everything that they offer, and to also, like I said, just grow the resources, because they know the situation that it is down here. It's no, it's not a secret how the state of Galveston County and the fathers and everything, the good and the bad. So they see it and they know, so they all about it, but they just want to continue to see there's been a lack of involvement or a lack of fathers coming together here in the county, and that's what we need, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in going off of what Doc said, especially about, like, the guys coming together and being vulnerable, like, being able to take that ego aside, because, like, men, we have egos about, like, us wanting to be the best or the top dog in something, but it's kind of like being able to understand that somebody may do something better than I can that could better my household, my situation, and being able to look at them and be like, hey, I could help, you could help me with this and I could help you with that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that village mentality
Mm-hmm.
where it's kind of like we need to come together more. And there's been a lot more isolation, definitely, like now compared to like generations of the past.
Right,
And
for
kind
sure.
of being able to, you know, understand that, like, hey, if I needed I have a younger brother. If I needed, like, him to go to Doc about something, I could trust Doc to, hey, listen, you talk to my brother, get this through to him, work with him on this. He's struggling with this. He's not listening to me. He's not working with me on this.
Yeah.
You could be able to, and I'm the closest thing to a father figure in my younger brother's life, but it's at the same time, Doc may be able to create that connection with him in another way where it's kind of like, and then him doing that, he's helping my household. So I don't need to have ego block Doc from being able to do that or Jared to be able to do that. It's like, so really, I think it's a big deal that being able to build on that type of mindset of take the ego away and let's do what's better for our households and our communities.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And, you know, and a lot of times you'll find that people maybe are struggling with the same thing, you know, and then there's people that are who have gotten past that, you know,
Right.
that I like that view is like, hey, there's 100 people and you're all looking at the same thing from different angles. Some of these are closely lined up. How did you do this? You know, or
Right.
you're 20 years ahead of me. You know, what did you do? Or how did
Right,
you avoid
right.
this? Or, you know, we're going through the same thing. Let's get through this together. Just
See,
makes sense.
You want me to tell you what I think the biggest problem is? So many people, they look at this social media and they looking at all these people highlight reels, not realizing the behind the scenes. People are hurting out here, man. Everybody is going through it. Like, nobody is exempt. You feel what I'm saying? And at some point, people got to realize that, you know what? I need to set my pride to the side and figure out what ways can I get help for myself. Because if you're not, it's just like if you're in an airplane, right? What do they tell you if it's going down? What's the first thing you got to do? You got to put air on yourself first and then try to put it on the child. Because if you try to put it on the child and they fighting you, they don't know what it is, and you can't get it on them,
You both
now
not
both
gonna
of
get
y'all
it.
dead. You feel me?
Right,
So
right.
at some point, you have to start truly figuring out who you are, what makes you tick, what makes you upset, what makes you, you know what I'm saying? And then start learning about yourself. And when you start learning about yourself, then you can know what you can and what you cannot do to help somebody else. And they got the resources. People just not really going to get them because they got pride. Like, man, I ain't finna go in there and tell no man, like, I deal with this or I deal with that. Like, at some point, if nothing changes, then nothing changes. You feel me? So
Yeah.
at some point, people have to start saying, you know what? I'm fixing to start doing work on myself to help my future self and the generation that's going to be around my future self. And so a lot of people, they're not looking down the road. They're looking at what they can see, touch, taste, and feel right now, not realizing tomorrow is going to come. And if you're not ready, it's going to hit you right in the face, man.
Yeah. That's good.
For sure.
I like that. That's good. Cool. Is there anything else we want to talk about with the Family Service Center?
Basically, our event's coming up this Thursday. You could be able to speak to me one-on-one if you have to. You could speak to Jared one-on-one there, but it's we're gonna have a good time. I think we also have a fatherhood panel coming up next week with LaQuinta Harris. And that's going to be pretty interesting as well. And we'll be able to share more information about that on Thursday as well for any interested dads that may want to come view that panel. But, yeah, that's pretty good.
What do you, anything else?
I'm just excited about the future, like I said, in the whole FSC. I know that the people that's leading FSC right now, I fully believe in them, and I'm gonna ride with them. So I'm excited for the FSC future as a whole. You know, like I said, I know that we're gonna grow. We're gonna continue to grow our services, grow our outreach. Like I said, we haven't really been much on the island, but a lot of people don't even know. Just for y'all, for the families going forward, FSC is in. We have our phase program in which schools?
We're in Dickinson ISD. I believe we're about to be in Texas City ISD, and like many schools in Texas City ISD.
Yeah, I know we're in Odyssey. Also, so in that program, like I said, it's a safe place for our children. You can tell your kids, if you don't want to talk to me, go find FSC at your school. You know, so we're gonna next year. No, school just ended, but next year we're gonna have counselors, pretty much, and therapists in every school in Galveston County almost. And like I said, I know in the future we working on growing outside of mental health as well. So I'm just excited for the future in general.
And if somebody wants to find out information, like, what's the best way to find out what's going on at Family Service Center?
FSC GAL, GAL, FSC GAL .org.
Yep.
That's our website, and we have an office right across the street, not right across the street, but in Mainland City Mall where the Old World's gym was, and those glass doors right across the way, that's where our office is. And we also have an office in Galveston on Market Street. But you can go online, call us, reach out, and we'll make sure we get back to you for sure.
Yes, I've been to both those offices, because then there's even like an office, and then there's like this house that they office out of as well, and then there's over here. And I've gone to them like, hey, we're meeting Galveston. Okay, cool. And I've gone to the wrong spot. I'm like, I should have went to the house, and I went to Market Street.
Yeah.
But you know, being an organization that's been around for so long, there's a ton of, and I've seen some of the events that they do, like to fundraise, and there's a long history of work that's been shown. You can see like, wow, this has affected these people, now it's moving and it's growing.
Right.
You know, maybe I want to get involved, you know, maybe, you know, there's my time I could volunteer, or money I can donate to that as well. So, you know, check out fscgal.org and find out everything you need to know and what's going on. Doc, what else you want to share?
Man, I will say honestly, and I'm speaking directly to the men right now, like, I don't got it all together. I'm not perfect. I've been through a whole lot in my life. But when the Bible say that we are to leave an inheritance for our children, and I believe he's commanding every man who has kids who could possibly one day have kids. Like, at some point, you have to really, really decide, who are you? And what do you want your legacy to be like when you leave this earth? What do you want people to say about you when you leave? And you have, like, if you still got breath in your lungs, no matter what situation, no matter what you in right now, you still have time to turn it around. I've been to prison 3 times. I've sold drugs. I've done drugs. I had kids when I was 17 years old. I was sleeping in abandoned buildings. You know what I'm saying? But none of that stopped me, because I always had a dream in my heart that one day that I would be places that nobody could have imagined I would ever been, and that always kept the fire in me, man. So, men, if you got kids, or if you one day gonna have kids, you have to make sure you're good before anybody else around you can be good. That's why God made us the head. That's like with anything. If you go and chop the head off of anything, what's going to happen to the body? It's going to fall, man. You are the head. God put you there for a reason, because he know there's going to be situations in life that a woman, she's not going to be able to take. She going to fold. He know, man, men, we have bigger bones. We have tougher skin. We have bigger and harder teeth. Our head is harder. You know what I'm saying? He made us like that for a reason, because he knew the stress and the pain that we was going to go through in this life, man. But until you decide in your mind that I want better for the people that's coming behind me, you're going to always be how you are, man. But if you decide that, you know what, I might not have it all together right now, but if I continually work and be consistent at doing something, the hard stuff will eventually become easy, man. See, a lot of time people run into these hard roadblocks and they quit, and the hard stuff always stay hard. But eventually, if you keep doing the hard stuff will eventually become easy, man. And people will be looking at you like, man, how you doing that? Because I stayed consistent. I didn't quit. I kept going, man. And that's for any man out there, man. No matter where you at in life right now, man, don't quit. Keep going. And if you put in the work, the results will show, man. And we a small community, man. Galveston County, we got like, 200,000, 50 people around here. We all we got, man. Nobody's coming to save us, man. People in Houston not worried about us, man. People in New York, they not worried about us, man. We got to come together as a community, man, and start putting our heads together and making it work, man. That's the only way it's going to work, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
One thing that you were saying, and it came into my mind a couple times whenever you were talking even before, but like if you find somebody that has something that you want, whether that's, hey, they got a rock solid family, maybe they don't have a family yet, or, they got, they're financially stable, or they started this career, the fastest way to get there is to ask them.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Right. And the reality, like the men that we had there, that's why I was so surprised about. I ain't going to say surprised. I was more so grateful about the guys that we had there at that last meeting. Majority of them were leaders. Like
we
Stephen
had
said.
Both the mayors. Yeah. We had city commissioners.
Yeah.
We had
high school football coaches.
Coaches. We had city managers.
We had police officers.
Community leaders. Police. We had people from all different backgrounds with one goal, to come and listen in and see what's going on and see how can we help. And that's the goal, man. Just at some point, listen, man, it's like this, man. If nothing changes, nothing changes. We're going to keep getting what we got if we don't start doing something different, man.
That's good.
I'm not saying you have to be any of those to come. We want everybody.
Nah, we want everybody,
and that's
man.
the thing, too. So this message I want to put out there, I'm sorry, God,
No,
before we leave. Listen, if you got a son that's 18, 19 years old, not working right now, at home, because we have that generation that's out there right now, the reality of that situation, right? We got a group of kids right now, 19 to probably 23, 24 years old, that's at home, that has kids that's not working. Have them come that Thursday, please. That's a group of kids that I specifically want to reach out to and start doing more with. That's a very pivotal point in those kids' lives. I haven't been there before, trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? Just getting out of high school, don't know what to do. College may didn't work out them first couple of years, and you trying to figure it out, what they trying to figure out, and they leaning all on you and they daddy maybe, you know what I mean, and they not doing much for themselves. They may be depressed, they may be just going through some things like whatever, whether it's drugs, depression, or whatever things they may be fighting right now in their lives. Bring them that Thursday, drop them off, and we'll make sure they get home if you can't come get them. You know what I mean?
They're going to get a
they're
good
gonna
meal.
they're going to get a good meal.
So they ain't coming home hungry.
They ain't going to come home hungry. You
Eat your food,
yeah.
yeah.
So I really want that group of kids, man, to really show up at this event also. And y'all make them get out your house and come up there.
One thing you talk about, that there is that age group, and it is hard. Well, we talked about this very shortly, but the cost of everything has gone up.
Oh, yeah.
Housing has gone up. Rent has gone up.
Yeah.
You need the first deposit end of the month, like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So I understand and I sympathize with those, because it's like, what am I supposed to do? I'm going to go make minimum wage. How am I supposed to support my kid, or I'm still living at home just to be able to make this happen, And
then, honest to God, truth, just being real, and I thank God for my kids and my grandkids, because I never, ever thought about going back that way. But life is hard. I got fired from my job last year from Dunn Heat. I didn't have a job all the way until December. You know how easy it could have been for me to call somebody and say, hey, listen, man, this is where I'm at. I need to make some money. And it's easy for a lot of people to do that, and a lot of people are doing that, man. But that's not the way, because it's not a if, it's a when you get caught. And depending on what your background like, they hiding people right now, man. And so they trying to give people different resources and outlets that they can probably use to help better them so they can go get a steady employment. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? If this is not right, if your mind is not right, everything else is really just spinning the wheels. Yeah, you on autopilot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then the other thing, you never want to be what they say, like when you go to be the smartest person in the room.
Oh, yeah.
You go meet on a Thursday and you have all these people in positions, and it's like, hey, this is man, this is how these people move. This is how they operate. It's different than what I'm used to, but it's, I can learn that. Or
Right.
what's keeping me from doing that? Because you can do it. Yeah, you can do it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys
And thank you, Gordy, man.
coming in today.
Absolutely, man. No
Y'all are
problem.
awesome. Thank you, Stephen, as well.
Thank you.
This is KHEA